She was an important part of my growing up in my life. So I'll start with that. Excuse me. The report I have written is on an amazing woman in our Black American history. I have chosen the Professor Angela Yvonne Davis. She is one of the most rememberable women in our Black struggles today. I have decided to travel back into the past to research as much information that is available. Now, I have the honor of you making this travel with me. Angela Davis was born January 26, 1944, in Birmingham, Alabama. She's an educated woman that earned her bachelor's degree, magna cum laude, in 1965 from the University of California, San Diego, Brandeis College University in Waltham, Massachusetts. Also, she attended Humboldt University. Ms. Davis is a scholar, civil rights activist, and an academic author of numerous books. She is an educator of women's rights. As a teenager, Ms. Davis organized interracial study groups to educate students searching for the knowledge and a different way of life. She taught women to be proud of themselves, no matter what their color of skin. My reference for that from Angela Davis. Think exit quotation www.searchquotes.com/quotes from Angela Davis collection from the older professor. Davis has forever touched the very soul of me. She is one of the most enthusiastic and forthcoming African American women in my lifetime. She has strived for the betterment of African Americans and continues to stand up and be heard for the freedom of our race. Our history serves as an important vehicle for our lives. Professor Davis has always been an intricate person in the lives of us. She remains a freedom fighter in our history today. As an African American woman of the United States of America, she was born to reason and educate other people, other races. And if that did not work for her, Angela and the Black revolutionaries obtained a way to get their statements heard. Ms. Davis was influential in helping people to understand who they are and where they come from. Davis remains involved in struggles for women in history. This is important to women in our society. She is a role model for many people today. Ms. Davis travels cities and towns and several other countries, passing her message of belief to people that needed to see justice. She was known for her political stand she took. Davis arranged freedom rallies. She wrote speeches for every event and meeting she attended. Ms. Davis was determined to reach her audience with every reference she could give. A reference, Angela Y. Davis, www.godgodgood.com/quotes/29195, the large collection for Professor's quotes. The federal government obtained inside information from every venue the professor spoke at. The police seemed to get there before she did. Along with the police department, there were federal investigators among the groups of people to hear Angela's speeches. Professor Angela never traveled alone on her quest for change in the lives of people. She knew then it would not be easy, although she felt this predictable. Her friends and companions stayed close by her side at every venue she attended. Davis was invited to lead a discussion on the civil rights of Black women in the state of Arkansas. Her companions knew that her companions knew that she was taking a risk at that time. She also understood what was at stake if she did not stay. This state was one of the most prejudiced and racial states in our country. The rallies were always a nonviolent gathering, like all the previous ones had claimed to be. The rally was going as planned when a white man's voice yelled out profanities to the crowd of people. After the voice was heard, other people, men and women, started to yell out these harsh words towards Miss Davis. They yelled racist words. Angela was called a dumb black nigger. The onlookers became aroused, angry towards the idea of this gathering being a peaceful gathering. Reference Professor Angela Davis, Internet, 2011, biography.com/06, December 2011/www.biography.com/people/Angela-Davis 96785. People began to leave quietly. They moved quickly down the streets as fast as they could. They did not want to get into the middle of this disturbance. Police officers pushed and shoved students and said to a group of people, "We want you all to leave here at once." The police told the speaker to shut up before we lock your black asses up and haul you all to the city jail. The participants knew there was time for us to pack up and leave. No one wanted to be hurt or jailed or worse. Another peaceful gathering upset by people that believe things should never change for the African Americans, not in their lifetime. Ms. Davis' friends and her company of fellow speakers immediately were prepared to leave, and they did just that. "This is not unusual. We expect as much," Davis replied. As they approached the bus that brought them to the assembly, the members and friends that stood shoulder to shoulder, back to back, with their family members and onlookers to receive the message from Professor Davis. My reference for this, AngelaDavis.com/15274/1, the largest collection from Angela Davis. Right along. The people left in confusion and disarray, not knowing what would happen next. I said in a loud voice, "Dear God, when will we be able to participate in any nonviolent rally without whites and bigots harassing interfering and disrespecting the freedom of our black people in America. This seems more to our nation. This means more to our nation of black Americans than to interrupt another freedom rally. As she looked behind her, she thought, we will someday be able to meet anywhere we would like to. The disagreements and the arguments for the white people would never make sense after today. The bus hurried off, and many of them prayed that they would not be followed. Ms. Davis learned early in life of racial prejudice from her experiences living in Birmingham, Alabama. Ms. Davis was a friend of the 4 American girls that were killed while at church. The church was bombed in 1963 in Birmingham. The country was grossly upset. These were senseless murders. The names of the 4 girls, one 11-year-old, Denise McNair, and 3 14-year-old girls, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robinson, Addie Mae Collins. They all perished from the dynamite thrown by a white man to the inside of the church. It was meant to kill numerous people. Angela Davis relocated to the North and studied psychology at Brandeis University in Massachusetts with Hubert Marcuse. She was responsible for starting several groups and organizations. In the 1960s, she joined the Black Panther Party. Although she spent the majority of her time working with the Chattanooga Club, which is an all-black branch of the party. Angela continued to teach and lecture to fulfill her aspirations. This was an important time in her life. She also taught in Los Angeles at the University of California in 1960. She ran into an accusation or two when her associates were and she ran into several accusations at that time with a particular group. The administration at the university held meetings in reference to Ms. Davis and her associates. Davis was fired. She went to court and fought for the right to teach, and she won. The university had no other choice but to rehire Davis. Her followers and friends were elated and this made Angela very proud. Reference collected from the internet, 2/6/2011, biography.www.com/people/Angela Davis, number 9256789. Angela Davis is not a woman easily intimidated, and she was a force to be reckoned with. She has proven that many times in her endeavors. There were newspaper articles and several negative reports written about her. Angela addressed each of them and attempted to put remarks behind her, but she had a cause. She was always a strong supporter of all rights of the people. She was convinced that more doors could be unlocked. Angela was a supporter of all the American people. She never turned her back on a person in need or help. Ms. Davis was accused of assisting in the help of a prison escape. This brought more problems to her. Inside the Soledad prison, there were men that needed political and legal advice. She gave them the answers they needed. She worked with them. There were 3 men that were accused of killing a prison guard during a riot within the prison. These inmates were known as the Soledad brothers. They were not related to each other. They were prisoners that were killed when the fight broke out inside the walls. The 3 men were charged with the death of the guard. The names of the inmates are John W. Kluchik, P.J. Yunga, and Lester Jackson. Many people believe those men were used for scapegoats because of the political work inside Soledad prison. My reference came from Think Exit, quotation, www.search.com/quotes/from Angela Davis/professor, collection, and internet, number 9267589. The Soledad brothers were charged with the death of the guard. George Lester Jackson, went on trial August 1970. An attempt was made to release these men from the courthouse. There were guns fired, bullets flying everywhere. People were not safe. They attempted to hide. There was no such place for them to do that, unfortunately. There were innocent people wounded, and many people were killed in this tragedy. This courtroom was empty when the shooting began. After the shooting began, spectators, jurors, and reporters from all over the United States, they were injured. The Californians began to scream, to shout for help as they fell to the floors. Many injured people did not have the time to remove themselves from danger. They didn't wait until safety was about them. Angela Davis, knowing these men, she was there for their support. Ms. Davis was suspected of giving them help, and she was brought up on charges. This included murder and what she was alleged to have taken part in. There were 2 pieces of evidence used at her trial. The guns that they were registered to her. My reference from the internet, quote and search www.com/I-decide/Professor Angela Davis. There were rumors connecting Davis with having an affair with one of the inmates, George Lester Jackson. When Ms. Davis was charged and found guilty of these charges, she was given an 18-month sentence for her alleged participation in this crime. Davis was believed to have paid for the weapons that were used in the courthouse that day. She served in her entire time of 18 months behind bars. In June 1972, Davis was acquitted of these charges, and she was released. Professor Davis has written 8 books and is currently working on her 9th one. Ms. Davis has lectured throughout the United States, Asia, Australia, South America, Europe, and Africa. In recent years, Ms. Davis continues to teach wherever she feels is needed. Professor Davis lectures on the rights of women all over the world. Ms. Davis' years of persistence in her belief of the freedom of all innocent people behind bars with a generalized and criminalization of their release. Davis has been known to say to any prisoner in jail, there should be torn down. There should be no jails. Schools should be built. This is the way she felt. Reference Internet Angela Davis 2011.biography.com.access.December the 6th, 2011/file/Professor Davis -964. Angela Davis her quote simply means abolishment of the prison system for the world. Professor Davis, Emirati history studies at the University of California, draws on her knowledge of the release and freedom for all women of color. The range of her social problems have always laid at her door. To overcome history injustice that have forever been prevalent in her struggles for the truth. In her struggles with the law, she refers to her own arrest in 1970, where Davis was acquitted from the charges and went on to lecturing from one end of the world to the other and back. Davis made a conscious decision early in life as a young woman to stay the course no matter what obstacles or barriers were placed in her path. Professor Angela Yvonne Davis, born to the modest parents, B. Frank, a school teacher, and also a businessman. Her mother, Sally E. Davis, who was also a school teacher that taught in Alabama. They both would be proud of her today. The reference Internet Professor Angela Yvonne Davis /bio/profile/quickfacts.www.com/people/Angela Davis 33874. That's my report on Angela Davis. The reason I chose her because, as I said in the beginning, I've always had a great appreciation for this young lady because she's only like 10 years older than me now. But I remember everything that she did, and I believed in all that she did. She gave a mighty fight, and still to the day. I have one thing I want to share with you. After I did my report, I was thinking about what could I add. It made me think. So I wrote a poem. I'm going to read it to you all. The title is 400 Years. It's been said we've had our freedom for over 400 years, although the white nation won't see us as their peers. We are told that our lives are getting better by the day when some of our most intelligent people can barely make a way. Yes, we've come a long way to quench our thirst for life. We are proud of our forefathers as they echo freedom through the nights. We are confident, creative, yes, intelligent black people too. Will stand to all to be counted. We'll see our families through. Whenever any creed or color confronts us and put our values at bay, we raise our mighty black fists to them. Someday they'll see things our way. And if it takes another 400 years to convey our struggles to all, our endeavors never stop because we will always be our boss. Thank you. This is a small picture of Angela Davis. You have it. Okay. I just want to show you. It's very small. I was looking for something else, but I couldn't find it. Okay. So she's been fighting a good struggle all her life. Actually, today she's 67 years old, and she's still doing what she does. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Praise to the ancestors. Did anybody have any questions?
So where is she still? You said she's still teaching.
She's still teaching all over the world. Yes.
One of our great scholars and one of our great leaders. She paid the price. And she's still in the fight.
You know, during that time, if you could afford to get a good attorney, so if you had to go to court or something, had these charges, she had murder charges, weapons charges, and I was just amazed to see her win that, being a black American. She won that, and she got her freedom. I guess she got it expunged. I'm not sure. I didn't go into depth of that. But they gave her a chance to go on to teach, because some people now, in the day of time, if you get say if you get in trouble for any reason, and it happened to be a felony or something like that, you cannot get a decent job anywhere. It's not going to happen here. But she, back in those days, she found a way to get herself cleared, and I have the most respect for that. And I wish it was that way today, for people that's arrested and jailed for a lot of different things. You can't come out and get a decent job.
Yeah, I didn't know she was a teacher. I knew of her as being part of Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her afro was famous. You know, but
Yeah,
that was.
She is an icon in terms of when you take a look at our culture. One of the many things that comes out of the 60s is the aura of the Black Panther Party and the natural, the way that we wore our hair and the culture that we put together because of the struggle, that uncompromising struggle that dwells within all of us was so prevalent then. Angela Davis is one of my favorites also. When I take a look at our culture and look at those who paid the price, did the hard work, and it was hard because it was not only hard, it was also dangerous. She was really lucky to get away with her life and still be living because colonialism had no qualms about killing men or women. So, you know, we lost men and women. We didn't just look at brothers. Sisters gave their lives too. And there are many stories that we don't even hear about the sisters. So, but when we talk about the struggle, we got to talk about Angela and the things that she did. I believe there's someone doing a movie on Angela Davis.
Oh, really?
Right. I believe I'm always scanning the internet, the televisions, stations, and so forth. And I do have some a documentary on Angela Davis. We'll bring that so that you'll be able to hear her say and talk about her story herself. Because she's as I said, a scholar and want to say warrior, but that may not be the correct term for women. What is it? Anyway, she's a fighter. She, you know, was one of those who refused to give up, and there was nothing you could do to make her stop. And because of the work that she did, those who fought that battle in the 60s and the 70s, today we have what we have today. And it may seem minuscule and non-important, but it is most important. It is as important as Martin Luther King first struggle was as important. So, you know, the battle was fought, and it was bloody, and it was horrendous. And many of people did not get in the battle because it was so dangerous. So we hear of them today, and we should always hold them up. We should have a day set aside for Black scholars, that we give them their just desserts and celebrate the triumph that we received. So today, we're going to go on with blackologist Professor Croce and our cultural autonomy, and that's what Angela Davis was fighting for, cultural autonomy. That's what we were about in the 1960s. We were about building our culture. We had our own look. We were distinguishable, not only in our color, but you know, how we wore our hair, the way that we talked, the way that we walked. We talked about rap. Rap came from that generation. So, and Angela can rap too. That's why I said I have to bring up the documentary. So today, no other questions or responses.
I just like the one, Paula said Davis made the decision early in life to stay the course. I can't remember exactly what she said, but no matter what comes her way, basically, so whatever obstacle, she made that decision early. That's it's always good to refresh your mind to do that.
It is. You know, we need to see these scholars. We need to see what they've done. We need to hear them. We really need to hold them up, because the more we hold them up, the more strength we get. And the more we know why we need to do what we need to do. For about 30 years, we went about thinking that whatever we made on our own. As I was going to join the police departments and the social services and the teaching fields, I could always hear brothers and sisters, ain't nobody did nothing for me, I did it for myself. And I would caution them to think about those who gave their lives, that they might be able to have what they have. And so that's something we have to do all the time, because they did the job so well, we forget that it really wasn't difficult. It wasn't easy at all. It was really hard. Just all of the things that went on, that if we could begin to name them and talk about them, we'll be doing it from now until the end of the year. So, but someone else. Angela Davis.
The reason I wrote that more because once I got finished with the story and I reported others, a lot of things started coming to mind, and I started reminiscing and just thinking about some things. I went back and pulled up some poems like I mentioned before that I had written in my my late teens, early 20s. And I just took them and I just rewrote them and updated them somewhat.
That's good. That's good. Now you can self-publish.
Yeah.
And so it's better to write your materials And self-publishing is not difficult at all, really. Publishing really is a matter of a page. And on that page is the title of your book. And it is on there that this material cannot be duplicated without the consent of the author. It has a number on it, whatever you can put in like the birth date or the date that you published the book. And then it has the first day of this publication was. It's very simple. And you know, I actually teach self-publication. Because I self-publish my own books, because if I would have taken them to publishing companies, they would have said no just because it said psychology. But they wouldn't have told me that. So, but my brother was having a difficult time publishing his books. So I said, well, let me find out about self-publication. What does it take? And so I pursued it and did the research and study, did a class, and self-publication is really simple. Really easy. It's the way to go. And you should like all of your, just like that, on publishing. It's like the report publishing. I'll show you how to do that. So, but, yes, Angela Davis is really someone you need to know about and need to go and see her and call her. You should call her to come and speak at SDC. She'll do it. She'll come and talk. She's fire. She can talk. She's something else. You know, you won't be the same after you hear her. She's something else. She will inspire you, encourage you. One of the many sisters. Am I blocking anything? You can see everything?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
All right, so now, if there's nobody else, we're going to go to the next cultural therapy. It's called psychology for cultural therapy. But do anybody want to go to the restroom first? How about that? Okay, let's take a break and go to the restroom.